Welcome to Weekend Instant Reaction. Ole Miss gets one in Starkville. I'm here with Chris Muller. Hey, it doesn't really matter who's on the other team's jersey. The goal is to win one on the road and two on the home. That'll get you to 15 and 15. Try to expand on that. They're on pace for 17 and 13 now, which is hosting, which is the whole goal of this, people. I understand that people want to get involved with bragging rights and talking trash and doing all that stuff. That's not the important stuff. The important stuff comes in about a month and a half. How you doing, Chris? What'd you see this weekend?
I'm doing great. Obviously, wish we would have taken 2 out of 3. Starkville's a really tough place to play, and I know people were disappointed. But we sit at 9-6 in the conference. In the last 3 weekends have just been a buzzsaw for us a little bit. Down in Gainesville, Arkansas, at Starkville. If there's a tougher 3-game stretch that a team has to face in the conference, I really want to see it. So it's kind of my thought right now.
Yeah, and the goal of this first 5-series stretch of SEC play for Ole Miss was get through it and then make hay on the back end of it. And now they're through it. They're actually ahead of the game. They're +2 on the plus minus. They're on pace for 17 and 13. And honestly, there's a couple of things with bullpen. There's a couple of things with injury issues that are not what we were looking forward to, but there's a lot of positive that can be taken from this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, we're only halfway through the schedule, and we're really building toward June, right? And that's what really matters, and that's what this season is going to be judged on, is what happens the first weekend in June and the second weekend in June. And if we can get through those 2 weekends, everybody's going to forget about today. The next 3 weekends set up really well for us. We have LSU coming to town, we have South Carolina coming to town, and then we go to Texas A&M. All 3 series very, very winnable, if not the possibility for a sweep here or there with those 3 opponents coming up next.
Yeah, if they can get a sweep at Texas A&M, hey, heaven on earth would be a sweep against LSU. I mean, they could be sitting really pretty by winning 8 of their next 9, potentially in the SEC.
Absolutely. It's 7-9, I think, does the trick. And with the early hosting schedule that's going to come out, we really do need to do some work over the next 3 weekends. So the next 3 weekends are really critical to our success in June.
Yeah, and to get on this weekend, the starting pitching this weekend was excellent. Gunner was good on Friday. Doug was fantastic yesterday. Even Drew McDaniel today put together a pretty good gym for a first start in that type of atmosphere. And there's a lot that can be taken from those 3 starts.
There is not a pitcher that pitched for us this weekend in the starting role that deserved to take the L. I think Gunner took the L. I think Drew didn't factor into the decision, and obviously Doug was Doug yesterday, and he was the story of the weekend for us. Complete game, 1-hit shutout. In post game, Dunhurst said he didn't miss a spot the whole game, which is just an incredible statement to make, even if he was overselling it just a little bit. If a guy walks here and there, I'm not going to say he didn't miss a spot, but it's really an incredible statement for your catcher to come out and say that. And just if you listen to any of the post-game quotes from Doug, just the humbleness that he showed in post-game was really, really special to me. And he shows me what a guy he is and a team player he is. In the video that Ole Miss Baseball tweeted out yesterday after the game, Doug said, "It is what it is." And this just sets up our pin really well for tomorrow. And so to have that selfless approach to his outing, which probably is going to garner him SEC Pitcher of the Week honors, is just really something else for me.
And if you take away that pitching performance, actually, they hit the ball really well. The underrated story for Saturday, the leadoff man was constantly on base. They were constantly scoring 1s and 2s, not really a big inning. But they hit the ball really well. You can see a little bit of skittishness, but the other team has great pitching too. This is the SEC. So you're going to have days when you don't hit the ball as well as you plan, and that makes that 17 more impressive. It's as complete of a college football game, offensively, defensively, and pitching, that I've ever seen.
Yeah, and yesterday, the other guy that comes to mind for me over the course of the weekend is Hayden Leatherwood. Came into the series having only hit 2 home runs. He hits one yesterday, which puts us gets a really big inning started for us, where we put 3 up on the board, and then he posted 2 more on the board this weekend to put us up to a 4-2 lead and give Drew McDaniel a little bit of breathing room. So really, Hayden was really good. Obviously, seeing the ball really well now. And then Hayden Dunhurst, his partner in crime, the Hayden and Hayden show. Dunhurst went 3 for 5 Saturday, so he continues to hit the ball really well as well.
And a related note, with that silly shift in baseball, why don't teams just bunt down the third base line and take their free base? They're giving it to you.
I wish I could figure that out. Somebody showed bunt early in the game. I can't remember who it was today. It may have been Hayden. I'm not exactly Dunhurst. Not exactly sure, but golly, I'd sure start to deploy that if everybody's going to shift on us and just to see what we can do. If we can execute that bunt half the time, they're definitely going to stop shifting on us, and we're going to open the field up even.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense hit the ball into the teeth of that defense whenever they're essentially playing a slow pitch softball short fielder out in right field on our left-handed hitters.
Yeah, obviously a question for somebody with a higher pay grade than I have, but something that really probably needs to be looked at. The other question that I had coming out of today, and I know this was talked a little bit about on Twitter and probably some other message boards as well, is who's going to be the bridge to Broadway in the future. And I think that is something that we do have to look at and we do have to identify is who's going to do that. Because today, obviously, we didn't find that bridge. Mallett's coming in. I think he only threw 9 pitches. And then we backed him up with Austin Miller. And then we got Broadway into the game. And obviously Broadway gave up the triple, which put State up for good at 7-4. But I don't really fault Broadway for that in that situation. It's a high leverage situation. It's obviously what he lives for as a high leverage relief pitcher, but it's going to happen from time to time. And so we can't really blame Broadway for that. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of the problem has happened is a lot of our bullpen, the pitchers are so similar stylistically. So when you make a change, it doesn't look different to the batter. So like Josh Mallett's coming in was just a continuation of Drew McDaniel. Then they were like, okay, we'll bring in Austin Miller, who is stylistically different, but if he's not on, you could have a problem with that position from him at that point. All right, it looks like we lost Chris for a second. Whenever he comes back, he's back now. I was saying the styles are too similar, and whenever it does change, if the person that it changed, if he's off, you can really ring up that cash register against him if he's not hitting.
Absolutely, and to break down the 6th inning a little bit, I think it was 3 singles and then the big triple from Allen, I think it was, for State, and so they really weren't. It wasn't a lot of extra base hits. It wasn't a lot of big mistakes that was happening. It was just them hitting the ball on the nose and getting it through. And so they changed it together, much like we want to do when we're batting, and they got there. Another question that was bannered about was, why did we pull McDaniel in that situation? And I can't really answer that per se, only to look at the number of pitches that were thrown, and it's 91, and that's his second longest outing of the year. And so I don't know, as far as Mike goes, what the next matchups were looking like in his mind. But obviously he felt like it was just time for Drew's day to be over. And so hindsight's always going to be 20/20. It's always easy for you, and everybody else to say, oh, we should have left McDaniel in the game at that point in time. And we just never know. And that's, Mike has the Sharpie for a reason. He's, as many people have said, he knows more about baseball, or he's forgotten more about baseball than I'll ever know. And I firmly believe that. And like we've said before, this game today is not going to really make that much difference in the course of an SEC season. Yes, it's a loss. It's one of 30 games. But in the end, it's all about what we can do in the postseason moving forward.
And let's talk a little bit about Hayden Leatherwood before we get out of here today. Absolutely had a great weekend. Actually, all the right fielders had a great weekend this weekend, but his bombs were kind of interesting. He was feeling it there towards the end.
Absolutely. In one of the home run trots they had, he actually pointed at the state student section in right field. Apparently, he made some friends out there over the course of the weekend. And then the last one that he had, the 2-run shot, was just an absolute nuke off the bat. And I think it almost cleared the stadium, as a matter of fact. So I don't know what the tape measure was, but it was gone off the bat. It was just tremendous to watch. And I'm really happy that Hayden's seeing the ball really well.
Yeah, that was a slow pitch softball swing. He just put everything he had into that one. All right, Chris. Let's see. Are you there? Yeah, you didn't drop out. We do this every week. Talk about midweek. Who are you looking at as the midweek starters? Is it Tyler Myers, since we didn't really see him this weekend?
Tyler Myers is a good bet. I think Myers is your guy. Could be Braden Forsythe as well. And I think we need to build back Derek Diamond's confidence. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him in kind of a bullpen type session on Tuesday, just to get some of that confidence back. I think he lost a little bit of confidence. Friday night obviously didn't go as well as we would have hoped for Derek, and so I'm hopeful that he's able to find that confidence back and really be a very heavy contributor in the bullpen. He's got the velocity. There's no reason that he can't continue to be a really, really strong piece in what we have moving forward.
Yes, a player that didn't apparently handle this weekend's events very well, and it kind of doubled up on him. But so hopefully we can get right. I think that's against, let's see, is that against Arkansas State? Right? No, Little Rock.
Little Rock.
Yeah, Little Rock. So that should be a nice little get well outing available. Anything you want to add, Chris?
Obviously excited about next weekend, LSU coming to town. Coach Kessinger's jersey retirement on Thursday night. Obviously, Coach Kessinger's accolades are just incredible from an Ole Miss perspective as well as from a major league perspective. I believe if I remember the stats correctly, he was the last player manager in at least the Chicago White Sox era. Rose actually may have been a player manager for the Reds back in the 80s. But Kessinger, just, a great shortstop. And as well as, you look at the Manning family name from football, that's the same name that you have with baseball in the Kessinger name. So I'm really excited that we have the opportunity to honor Coach Kessinger and his contributions to the program, not just as a player, but as a coach on Thursday night. And then the Grove Bowl on Saturday, obviously, should have a good crowd Saturday for baseball as well as for the football game following.
Yeah, and was he the manager of the White Sox when they wore shorts?
Yeah, I don't know the timeline on that. Obviously, if he was, he may have gotten some of our friends from Starkville to pick those up in the closeout section.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to see what that looks like, go on the internet and search White Sox shorts, and it was a pretty interesting look. Very slow pitch softball today. Anyway, for Chris Muller, I'm Stephen Willis. Thank you so much for tuning in. Palmcast tomorrow at 10 a.m. And we'll have Chad Smith with a preview show for LSU, I think on Thursday, maybe Wednesday. Corey Burton coming up to talk a little bit of SEC football this week as well. But again, for Chris, I'm Steve, and Mississippi State 2-1 series victory over Ole Miss. Plenty of time to turn it around, though. Take care and howdy-toddy.